Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. Now we're going to talk about the halving and the prices, but before we do that, I'd like to remind you that I'm streaming on my other backup channel called Good Free Photos, and that link will actually be in the comments as well as in the description. I also have another channel called Crypto Daily Update, which will encapsulate all the day's great crypto news into one single video. If you want to only watch one single video a day for all your crypto news, check that out. It'll be in the comments and the description as well. So now let's get to the topic. Bitcoin halving is coming up. Will that actually raise the price? There's a lot of arguments for and against it. Crypto Eerie obviously has done some research, and she says like for Bitcoin to be profitable mining, it's going to have to be around 12 to 15K. Now that's not necessarily true, because if the hash rate goes down, like it's been going down for a little while, the price could be a lot less. Remember, we were at 130 million theta hashes just a few weeks ago. We're now down to about 100 million or 90 million. That's a drop of nearly 30%. So if the hashes actually go down that much, the minimum price also goes down that much. Me personally, I think some areas in China and parts of the world will actually make Bitcoin profitable if it's above about $8,000 or $9,000. So I think that's kind of a minimum price. Now, I do think that after the halving, eventually it'll go back up, but it's very, very hard to predict during this pandemic if it will actually surge a lot before the halving. Remember, Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV's halving is actually happening in a week or so, and their prices are still very low. So keep a track of Bitcoin and BCH and BSV and what they do in the next 7-8 days, because I think that will give you a clue of maybe what Bitcoin does. Because I think at this point, BCH and BSV are also not that profitable for mining at their current price after the halving. Especially BSV, because it is actually lower in price. So if those coins actually suddenly surge up, then maybe you'll see the same thing for Bitcoin. Remember, Litecoin surged up from $30 up to 140 about a month before the halving, and then it kind of leveled off. And then unfortunately now it's fallen to about $30 again. Bitcoin, I don't know. It's only about a month before, maybe like a month and a week before the halving, and it really hasn't surged up. Litecoin by this time had already flattened out. So I think the time for Bitcoin growth in price might actually be over right now is the problem. And maybe the halving is already priced in, because we did go, remember, from 3,000 to 14,000 last summer, and then we came down to 6,000, went up to 10,000 again. So the halving actually might be priced in. And the thing is, you do have the pandemic kind of playing against the Bitcoin halving price right now. And that's a big problem, because pandemics make people lose confidence. And if they're going to sell their stocks, they're going to sell their crypto too for cash assets, because everyone wants USD right now. Yes, you might think the USD might be hyperinflating because they're printing so much money, but the truth is it's not. In fact, it's actually extremely strong right now, because every single person in the world basically wants to get their hands on USD. That includes American citizens and people who are not American citizens. People who are not living in the United States, they want that USD too. And the only reason that people are not getting USD right now is because they can't get their hands on USD. They trust the USD much more than any other cryptocurrency. So therefore, the USD is extremely strong. It doesn't look like we're going for hyperinflation. The demand is still outstripping the supply by a lot right now. So you have to put that into play as well. Yes, it's costing a lot to bail people out and stuff. But the thing is, they can print more money as long as there's a lot of demand for it. If the demand drops off a cliff, then we're in trouble. But I don't really see that happening anytime soon. And the thing is, the pandemic's not really going to go away before the halving, because the earliest projection for the peak pandemic date is actually late April. I personally think because the United States isn't taking social distancing quite as seriously as other countries, it'll probably be mid-May at most, before we before we actually hit a peak. And it might be late May or even early June before we hit a peak. And they're projecting 100,000 to, and a doctor has actually said there's going to be 200,000 deaths if we do everything perfectly. We're not doing everything perfectly. Did you see the giant crowd that actually gathered outside New York Harbor to wait for the arrival of a medical supply ship? That is exactly the opposite thing that you should be doing in a pandemic. So we're not really taking this all that seriously. Even in New York, they're not really listening, because they still gathered in large numbers to actually see the pull-in of the medical supply ship. So no, we're not actually peaking, because we're not doing everything perfectly. So because of that, and because I'm pretty sure the death tally is going to keep going up, all the experts basically say so. And if you look at the graph chart of the deaths per day, it is going up faster and faster in the United States. So I think that will actually induce more selling as the lockdown actually continues. There are a lot of people that actually favor a national lockdown. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't even know if the president has the right to do that. But because of those things, like that actually might cancel the effect of the halving. Now, that actually might lead to a cascade effect because once the miners aren't profitable, many of them are going to have to shut down. And that will lead to a big decrease in Bitcoin hash rate. If that decreases, the price of Bitcoin may decrease. But right now, there's definitely incentive for the big Bitcoin miners and the big Bitcoin holders to actually float the price up above the price of mining. But the negative sentiment from the overall market and just regular investors might actually be enough to pull that down right now. And some of those big investors might be like, you know what, I should probably get some of that USD as well because things are very unstable right now. So I'm not really sure how it's going to pan out. I think you have to watch BSV and BCH to see what happens in the next 7 days. If they don't really pump, I'm going to guess that Bitcoin is probably not going to pump too much before the halving. And after the halving, it could be like last time where it actually drops like 30-40% before slowly going up. Last time in 2016, when the halving actually occurred, the economy was really good. We didn't have a pandemic. So you can't really use that to judge what's going to happen now. I still think there's probably going to be a drop sometime in the next month, but it will probably quickly recover because of the halving. So I'm not expecting a huge, ginormous bull pump before the halving. I mean, we could go past 10K and I could be completely wrong, but I actually see us either staying kind of in this range or going down for another dip before we eventually go back up after this all kind of subsides, because the market is going to have to go back up to support the cost of Bitcoin mining, and I think it will, but it might be another 2 or 3 months before that actually happens. So that's what I think on the topic. Let me know what you think, like and subscribe, and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.